I want to switch a little bit. I'm going to talk about, God, I'm going to use the word journey. Your journey. I'm so sorry. Tell me about your journey, Matt.
All
Um,
right.
because you,
We
I
in
mean, you went,
California?
you, yeah, as
Yeah.
we're on a reality
We're
show.
in
You,
Texas, man.
you don't come from a software background. You're not a
No.
coder,
No.
but you have built a software company.
Mhm.
What what did first of all, what did you know was going to be tough? Like, what did you do to skill yourself up so you could do this
Mhm.
correctly?
So yeah, I'm not a coder. I can't write code, but I what I can do is I can come in and look at a situation and quickly determine, okay, what's the outcome, get crystal clear on that, and then what are the elements that need to be involved to make what we're trying to create, make that happen. And it's in this case, it's a combination of number one, vision. What are we trying to create? Number two, um, technology, and number three is people. So prior to really diving in and starting to build on this, I went and sold a couple of projects with accounts that we had. And I said, look, let me come in, take on one of your technology projects. Let me build a team and we'll do fixed costs, and we'll agree to a cost and I'll deliver that result. And so from that, I learned about different types of technology. I learned about Kapow. I learned about React. I learned about Python. I learned about what it is to truly be in the cloud, not say you're in the cloud, but really you got a bunch of server farms out there that are stacked up that are causing your product to respond slowly. So really just went out, sold some projects, uh, told the CEO that I was selling to, what I was doing, and so some of it was learning on the job.
Brian? What would you say was the hardest thing? Like, what's the biggest mistake you made in building out KinISO?
The biggest mistake was, or if I could have a do over, I did go through a couple of potential, um, call it CIO, technology leadership, people, um, until I found Jagadish and really um, landed with him. So people selection, although we've had very little turnover, but that's one area where I had a couple of fits and starts.
You wish you could have gotten to him earlier.
Yeah,
It's a big challenge because
it's
the
well, so much of this is so much of this is mindset, psychology. It's a point of view, and so you have to have a certain point of view when you're doing this type of work because it's not just production work. You've got to make decisions. Things are going to come up you didn't anticipate, and so getting everybody, getting this corpus together, if you will, for the company where everybody's thinking a certain way, so that they can make decisions on the fly is very important. Otherwise, you default to micromanagement,
you
where
actually did that with me. We were talking about building out one of the features, and you actually, which was really funny because I've done a lot of UX, but you wanted to make sure I understood what your viewpoint was, and not just you, but also your designer and the developer. You're like, this is how we do it. So you walked through and actually built out, and it wasn't some big fancy look, but you used Loom to basically, here's what we're doing, here's what it looks like. It's not really a wireframe, but visually, this is what I want.
right.
Think through it, go to the designer, make sure the designer builds it the way we want it, check it so that you're driving it
Mhm.
instead of them asking questions and putting something. You flipped it on its head. Most of the time, people trust the designer to create it, but then all you're doing is going with the designer's aesthetic. So
Mhm.
you carefully think out, not from the terms of what would work on software or on paper, but
Right.
doing the job. What is the account manager thinking? What is the manager thinking? What is the bookkeeper
Right.
thinking? What is the recruiter thinking? But that way, it's that when we say it's built by recruiters and somebody who's done the job, that's why it flows so naturally. Is
Mhm.
the amount of time you take actually planning that out, and that I got to tell you, that's pretty rare. I don't meet many
Yeah.
founders who understand that. To them, UX and UI design is just, I'll hand it off to my guy who makes it really pretty.
No.
And instead, this is built entirely on the flow of what is that recruiter thinking, down to the click. that's too many clicks. That button doesn't need to be there just because it's set.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's really unique the way so I did it the way you did it because it made sense. And
Mhm.
it's never about my design or my aesthetics. It's what's going to happen to the end user.
Right, and so a lot of that is unconscious too. So think about the person that's gonna be using your software product. When they see it, what's the feeling they get? What's the sense that they get? Are they drawn to wanna, "Oh, wow, this is really pretty." You know, I go back to, we used to, in America, do a really good job of designing cars in the '40s and '50s, even in the '60s, '70s, early '70s. They put so much, um, thought and care into the form, and what I find in the software world is people tend to discount that. And they go, that's not important. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters if it works. No, because you can have the best working product out there, but if it's ugly and if there's 20 steps to it, people aren't going to want to use it.